All right, good morning. Today is February the 11th, 2025. I am Judge Case Johnson. When I call the calendar, please make your announcements. And good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Your
Cameron
Honor.
Brooks,
Your Honor, the state could hold for the officer.
And Judge, that's one we need to be appointed on, but then I need to meet with him to see what he'd like to do. But if he'd want a hearing, the defense would be ready.
all righty. Sophia Chandler,
The state's ready on that one, Your Honor.
And defense is ready.
Duncan James,
State's ready on that one.
Judge, that's one we've been unable to meet with Mr. James, and there are some mental health concerns. He refused to meet with our attorney yesterday again. I don't know if you want me to give it another try this morning to try to meet with him, or if we want to just do a judicial bind
I
over.
was about to say you may just want to do a judicial bind over.
Okay, I'll draft that up.
Okay, great. All righty. And then Tyrone Hughes,
State's ready on that one, Your Honor.
Defense is ready, Your Honor.
mm, Jerome Lawrence,
Your Honor, the state would request a reset, one-time reset for this one. The officer is out on FMLA.
for how long?
I'd have to double check the time for that one.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna. I mean, FMLA could be 6 weeks, 12 weeks. I'm not gonna hold him for that amount of time, and they can send somebody else over to handle the case.
That's
Um,
understandable, Your Honor.
I'm sorry. Say
So
that
that's
again.
understandable.
I can't hear you.
I was just saying that's understandable.
Okay. All righty. And so if you can find out when Mr. Lawrence, excuse me, when the attorney will be off family leave, okay?
It's not the attorney, it's the officer, Your Honor.
The officer, I'm sorry, the
Okay.
officer. When,
And
how
and
long he's gonna be out?
Yes, Your Honor.
and, ju and Judge, this was already continued one time previously on January 28th.
Oh,
So
it
we
was.
requested dismissal.
Okay, I'm gonna dismiss. So that's gonna be a dismissal. All right, Terry Long Henry.
Can we hold for the officer?
Okay,
And defense is ready.
all righty. What about Ronald Mayberry?
State's ready on that one.
All righty.
And
Thanks.
on
Okay.
well, actually, Judge, my notes show on Ronald Mayberry that it was bound over. It hadn't been accused yet with a number, but if you want to
All
double
right,
check
can we
me on that.
confirm that, Marie, whether or not it's bound over?
Yeah,
All righty, and so Radiant Miller,
State's ready on that one.
And Judge, that's another one. My notes showing a bind over, but without a number yet.
okay. Marie, if you can also check Miller.
and yes,
Um, it said on Noel, it says fast track. Does that mean something was already negotiated?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so Noel, assistant solicitor, what is your announcement?
If we can hold for Officer Freeman.
And defense is ready.
And then James Phillips,
State's ready.
Defense is ready.
and have y'all discussed Mr. Phillips?
Uh, no, Judge, that with that being a battery family violence, I don't know if they would agree to.
But he doesn't have a bond at all.
Yes, okay, yeah, Judge, that would be absolutely, it was, we would love to get him a bond. Looks like it was denied.
And see, it says probation, but how long has he been in? Yeah, just talk to him. I don't know, he may have gotten the bond stuff handled, but how long, and let me know how long he's been in jail. I'm sure it's
Okay,
probably more than a month. All right. Shania Ray.
State's ready.
All right.
and, Judge, that's another one that due to mental health concerns, defense would request a judicial bind over.
Okay. All right. What about Darian Rudolph?
State's ready.
And, defense is ready.
I'm concerned about these fast tracks because it makes me believe that something is already going on with this case. But okay. Daniel Sellers.
Your Honor, the state requests a one-time reset. This officer has training today.
Just for the record, Judge, we, request a dismissal since the officer's not here.
Is this your first time on the calendar? Is this his first time on the calendar?
To my knowledge, yes, Your Honor.
I believe so.
All right, let me look at something on him. All right, position 46, and Marriott Tordeman or Toriman.
If we could hold for Officer Johnson.
Judge, we waived that one, and I believe it was processed on February 6th, but it just hasn't, and it's been bound over, but it just hasn't had a chance to get a
So
state
it's
case
previously
number yet.
waived.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Jerome Whitaker.
Can we
Ju-
hold for Officer Shelley, Your Honor?
Judge, that one was the waiver for a unsecured judicial release. We were yesterday that was processed.
It was already processed.
Yes, Judge, we did that yesterday afternoon. We
Okay.
wanted a proposed order on that.
Carlos Whitman.
State's ready.
Uh, Judge, defense, we never received the police report or any kind of warrant on that, but if we could get that sent over, defense would be ready.
Okay. Marie, can you send that over to to Attorney Lane? The warrant on Whiteman?
The warrant,
Yes.
okay.
Kevon Williams.
Yeah, if we could hold for Officer Era.
And defense is ready.
You say Officer Aaron?
Era, ERA.
Oh, okay. And then what about Randall Rothbeier?
Can we hold for Officer Rice?
Officer, which was the officer?
Rice, RIC.
Rice? Okay.
And defense is ready.
All right, that concludes the call of the calendar, but we need to go back through here. And so, because we have a lot of officers on. So if you did not hear your case, officers confirming the case involving defendant was bound over. I got an officer asked about Ray. Yeah, that's going to be bound over, so you're free to go, officer, on Ray. Officer Duncan, who are you here for? Officer Turner, who are you here for?
Hello,
Say that again.
I'm here for Chandler and Phillips.
Okay, so Chandler, okay. And you say Phillips,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Okay. Holmes is Mayberry and Ronald. All right, so it says on Mayberry, we believe that that's bound over, but we're going to confirm that.
Officer Turner here for James Duncan.
It's going to be a bind over, the judicial bind over. That's all you had, Officer Turner?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you're free to go.
Yeah.
That's going to be a bind over.
Thank
Actually,
you.
there are two cases that Officer Turner is on.
He didn't know that. Okay, what's the second one?
One moment.
Okay.
So, for Darylyn Rudolph.
Rudolph. What's the charges?
It's a criminal trespass.
Okay. I'm L Turner, so make sure that is it a L Turner?
Yes.
Okay. He says
It says
James.
L Turner?
It says Leon Turner.
Yeah,
That's you? Okay.
that's me. Okay, so you say James Rudolph,
Darylyn.
Darylyn Rudolph.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me refresh myself. Okay,
Yeah.
give me a second. Thank you.
Mhm.
Darylyn.
Any other officers?
I saw that Officer Alexander came on and that the state will be ready for Cameron Brooks.
You say Brooks?
Yes.
All right, we're going to go ahead and start the hearings.
And Your Honor, may I make one request? If we could start with Tyrone Hughes for Officer Andrew Rodriguez.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Tyrone Hughes. Right? Tyrone
Yes,
Hughes?
Your Honor.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All righty. So Deputy, if you could get Mr. Hughes, we're going to go ahead and start these hearings, and we're also going to, at the same time, going to be looking at these, because some of these have already been bound over. We just need to confirm. Deputy, are you getting Mr. Tyrone Hughes?
I got you.
Judge. Hey, Judge.
Yes, ma'am.
On those, Mayberry, Miller,
Uh-huh.
and it's not showing in the system that it's bound over yet. It just still shows that they're just, have prelims today. That's it.
You have what now?
On the ones that, they said that was bound over already,
Uh-huh.
it's not showing in the system.
And who was that? That was Mayberry.
Mayberry, Miller,
Mayberry, Miller.
I think it's Torah Band.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Assistant Solicitor,
Yes.
do you have anything on Ronald Mayberry and Miller? Is it already been bound over?
I was looking at that as well, Your Honor. I didn't see anything.
Judge,
Mhm.
I do see on Miller, we did have a waiver that was supposed to have been filed on January 29th.
Okay, so
I
those,
can
okay.
I can resubmit that today then
Please,
and
I'm not sure why we don't have it, but yes,
okay.
please do
And
that.
let me see on Mayberry why they, I'm wondering if it's the same thing.
I'm here if we find something.
Judge, yeah, I'm unable to locate Mayberry in our system. I'm trying to find the email where they said it had been bound over.
Okay.
Guess if I can't locate him, I just have to go forward with the hearing.
Okay.
Okay, Judge, I did find the email on Mayberry. It looks like we were never appointed on that case, so I need to get an appointment order done. And then as far as it being bound over, yeah, that's incorrect. I'm not showing that there was anything ever done on it because we weren't even appointed on it.
Oh, okay. All righty. And as soon as the deputy bring the inmate forward, we'll get started.
I was able to scan that through another program. So Mr. Lane, I sent that warrant to your email.
Okay. Thank you. Got it.
And Your Honor, there were a couple that you were noting something about a fast track. I didn't see any note from me regarding that, but I did look up a couple of them. It looks like Mr.
Uh-huh.
Newell. When I look at the notes here, oh, go back up. Seems like he was on a felony prelim calendar. So I'm not sure. Hold on.
So you saying it don't supposed to be on this calendar?
So it looks like January 21st of 2025. Hold on 1 second. I just see that he was placed on the felony prelim hearing calendar for January 21st. So I don't know. Wow. I don't know if let me just look at the charges really quickly.
It's a misdemeanor charge.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's
I'm only showing he has
perhaps.
2 charges on their misdemeanors.
Say that again.
I'm showing, looking at CPUA, he has this 2 misdemeanors.
It's 2 misdemeanors.
Yes. Interfere with government property and criminal trespass.
Okay, so I think what they're saying is one of his charges is interfering with government property, which is a felony. That's what it is. So these need to be continued to a felony calendar together. Unless y'all sent it back down. But on the calendar, it says probable cause presented for felony interference with government property placed on prelim felony prelim calendar. So these two need to be removed and placed on the felony calendar. Okay.
I think there was another one that you mentioned, but I heard about, I think I notated it fast enough.
Uh,
Because we can also use the 25th for continuances.
say that again.
We can use February the 25th for continuances. And the for the new, he would have to go on our March. Let's see. Well, actually, he can go on the 24th, Judge,
All right. So
for that felony, the one that Newell that needs to be.
Newell can go on what day?
He can go on the 24th. That's the felony
24th?
count. February the 24th.
Hey, y'all, you still waiting on me?
Yes.
You need a Hughes?
I'm sorry.
You need a Hughes?
We need it. Yes, Hughes.
Yeah, Beyond.
All right, Mr. Hughes, we're about to start your preliminary hearing. Now calling the matter of State of Georgia versus Tyrone Hughes, warrant number 2025 WA 70932, battery family violence, 2025 WA 70933, cruelty to children in the third degree. Representing the state is Senior Assistant Solicitor Jattenbier, and representing the defendant is Attorney Mark Lane, your witness, Assistant Solicitor.
Yes. Officer Rodriguez, could you please come on screen and unmute?
Hello, can you see me, ma'am?
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Please state your name for the record.
Officer Andrew Rodriguez, Clayton County Police Department.
Thank you. And Officer Rodriguez, how long have you been employed with Clayton County Police Department?
Police Department itself, a little over a year, ma'am.
And did you have any law enforcement experience prior to Clayton County?
No, ma'am.
And are you post certified?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you post certified on January the 18th of 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have an occasion to answer a call at 7608 Becker Court in Jonesboro, Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
What county is that located in?
Clayton County.
Do you recall the reason that you were dispatched to that location?
Yes, ma'am. So, initially we called out there for a possible 86 domestic violence case involving a female and her partner at the time. Call came out as I was getting in a fight. Female was getting in a fight with her partner, and her teeth were knocked out. That was the initial call, and we arrived on scene and tried to figure out what's going on.
And when you arrived on scene, did you come into contact with anyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Who did you come into contact with?
Initially, I came in contact with, apologize if I pronounce her name wrong, Miss Ari Burke. She was the spouse.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you learn from your contact with Miss Ari?
Initially, I learned that there was an altercation between her and her husband, and at first she tried to withhold certain information in fear of getting anyone in trouble, but she did state there was an altercation, but initially said what happened had been accidental.
And what, if anything, did you learn from your conversation with Ms. Burke regarding the incident?
So as the incident unfolded, after I talked to both sides, it came out that the altercation was more than just verbal, and there was a physical portion from from Hughes' portion, and that there was an intentional strike towards Miss Burke.
And you said Hughes. Who is Hughes?
He's Mrs. Burke's husband. He lives in the household.
And was he at the location when you arrived on the scene?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have the opportunity to speak with him?
Yes, ma'am.
And what, if anything, did he advise you?
At first, he stated that there was no physical portion whatsoever. It was strictly verbal. He said he was approached by his wife, confronting him about marital problems they're going through involving other parties. And he says that she got in his face, began yelling, and what had happened to her teeth was, from his words, was she hit her own teeth on his forehead, knocking her front teeth out.
Did you speak with any other individuals outside of Miss Ari and Mr. Hughes?
I spoke with Miss Ari's 17-year-old daughter.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you learn from speaking with her?
That the arguments have been a recurring thing since they recently got married, and that has been an ongoing problem and has gone escalated over time from her opinion. Now, on this specific incident, she said she did not visibly see what had happened in the bedroom, but could hear the the arguing and the going back and forth between the living room and the bedroom.
Okay. So did she advise that she observed the defendant strike the victim?
No, she did not observe the strike. She just observed what had happened afterwards when the teeth were already knocked out.
And did you make any observations regarding Miss Ari's appearance?
Yes, so I made contact with her and I asked to observe her teeth to see what was going on. And I observed that her front two veneer teeth were knocked out. She actually showed me in her hand the teeth that were knocked out. I could see that there was some slight redding and bruising on the lips from where the impact happened.
And did Miss Ari ever advise you that the defendant was the cause of that injury?
Yes, she did.
After speaking with both parties, did you make a determination about this case?
What was that, ma'am?
After speaking with both parties, did you make a determination about this case?
Yes. After speaking to both parties and getting the full story from both parties, it came to light that there was an intentional strike. They were just trying to not getting anyone in trouble, I guess you could say.
And did you make an arrest of any individuals on that day?
Yes, ma'am. I placed Tyrone Hughes into custody for battery family violence.
And do you see the person that you placed in custody on the Zoom screen today?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you identify them by an article of clothing?
He's wearing the orange top behind in front of the white wall.
All right, thank you. No additional questions, Your Honor.
All right, cross, Attorney Lane.
Hey, good morning, officer.
How you doing, sir?
Hey, pretty good. When you first arrived and began speaking with the alleged victim here, did she initially told you that nothing happened, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then her story changed.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the veneers, were you able to determine, are these the type that are like snap-on or pop-on veneers?
I was able to determine that they were not the type to be removed so easily. They're meant to be cemented onto the teeth, and they're not supposed to be falling out like that, sir.
Okay, and did was any medical treatment sought?
She stated she was going to go to her dentist and get them placed in. That was the only reassurance we had, was that they could be replaced with some money behind it, but no, she refused any medical treatment.
All right. Well, thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
Any redirect?
No redirect, Your Honor.
Closing arguments?
Your Honor, the state would waive and reserve any remaining time.
Attorney Lane?
Your Honor, just briefly on the battery family violence, we argue that it cuts against the finding of probable cause since the alleged victim here changed her story, so we really don't know what occurred. And again, I don't believe anyone here is an expert in dentistry, but there is such a thing as a snap-on or pop-on veneer teeth that could have been the cause of them popping out of her mouth. So just based on that, we'd request a dismissal against the battery family violence.
All right, I do find that there is sufficient probable cause to bind both charges over to the Clayton County State Court. That's the order of the court.
And Officer Rogers, we don't have any additional cases. You're free to go. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
All righty. And then if we can get Chandler, Sophia Chandler, that's who we're going to do next. Thank you, Mr. Hughes.
And Your Honor, I think that I don't see him on, but I think one of our officers is in the waiting room, possibly. If he's in the right space.
I just let him in. Thank you. Deputy, we're done with Mr. Hughes.
You said he's done with him, Your Honor?
Say that again?
Are you done with him?
Yes. We're waiting now on Miss just Chandler. Sophia Chandler.
Was it was a bond over?
His was a PC found, yes. All right, are we ready to get started? All right, Ms. Chandler, we are about to start your preliminary hearing. This is the state of Georgia versus Sophia Chandler, charged in warrant number 2025 WA 71085, battery family violence. Go ahead, Assistant Solicitor, your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Duncan, could you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Will you please state your name for the record?
My name is Officer Duncan,
And Officer Duncan, where are you currently employed?
Clayton County Police Department.
And how long have you been with the Clayton County Police Department?
Since August of 2023.
And are you post-certified?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you post-certified on January 21st of 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you on duty on January 21st of 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have an occasion to answer a call at 1308 Poplar Point Drive in Atlanta, Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
What county is that located in?
Clayton County.
And do you recall the reason that you were dispatched to that location?
Yes, ma'am.
Why were you dispatched to that location?
So we had got a third-party call. The caller complained that they heard somebody arguing and fighting. So when that's when I responded out there and found 86 related incident.
And what did you observe when you arrived on scene?
So me and two other officers went upstairs and observed the door cracked open, and we heard a male yelling help. So as we entered, the other two officers first initially entered, and I came right behind them, and we saw that there was a male on top of Miss Chandler, had her pinned down with her chin, with his head under her chin, yelling help. So we took him off of her, and we were hearing him wheeze for air, and we seen her yelling, complaining about the incident that they got into a fight.
And were you able to separate the two parties?
Yes, ma'am.
And once you separated the two parties, did you have a chance to speak with both of them?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you, what if anything did you learn from speaking with Mr. Pullins?
So Mr. Pullins stated that he invited Miss Chandler over to the house before it started to snow. And as he was about to go to sleep, that's when she arrived, and she had his keys. And when she got there, she said that she started to act irate, started to become argumentative. And then so he was saying that I ain't got time for that and asked her to leave. So she gave him the keys, and that's when she left. And probably roughly 5 more minutes later, she came back to the house and started knocking on the door. And that's when he came to the door and saw her, and then they got into a physical altercation. So, and then he's saying that soon as she came in, soon as she opened the door, she started swinging on him, and he was defending himself. And they was fighting, tussling all the way to the room, to the hallway in the room. And that's when he was trying to get her off of him. So he bit her, and that's when she kept on swinging at him, and then he pinned her to the ground and waited till officers got there. That's what he stated.
Right. And did you have an opportunity to speak with Ms. Chandler?
Yes, ma'am.
And what, if anything, did you learn from speaking with her?
So she stated the same thing until far as he asked her to come over, and she brought him some DoorDash. So she said that they got into it. She left him the keys and left and realized her phone was dying. Right when she got to the parking lot. That's when she came back and she knocked on the door and he did not answer. So she laid down in front of the door, and that's when he opened the door, and she said that he dragged her in there, dragged her in the house, and start being on, and he bit her in the face. That's what she stated.
And did you make any observations to the appearance of Mr. Pullins?
Yes. So he after I got done, EMS was checking him because he was wheezing. I seen that he had scratch marks on his neck, and then I seen a dread ripped out, and that was the only vision of him. And on her, I just seen a bite mark on her face, on her left side cheek.
And after speaking with both parties, did you make a determination?
Yes, I made a determined. After I was talking with a supervisor, I determined that he was telling me that, explain to me the family violence, because at first they was both saying that they lived together for 2 weeks. Well, once the male stated that they lived together for 2 weeks, and she was saying that they lived together for a month in the prior house. So then I determined that was family violence, and then at that point I got a witness a statement from Phillips about who's the physical aggressor. That she was the physical aggressor, and then even though she had the marks on her face, when she's saying that he dragged her, yeah, he dragged her into the room at the angle where I found them on the ground. There's no possible way that he dragged her that direction and then turned her around in the little hallway they was in. So I found out she was the predominant aggressor.
All right. And did you make any arrests or take anyone into custody on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was the person that you arrested?
Miss Chandler.
And do you see that person on the Zoom today?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you identify them by an article of clothing?
Yes, she's wearing a green shirt with a white undershirt.
Thank you. No additional questions.
Attorney Lane?
Hey, good morning, officer.
Good morning, sir.
So when you arrived at the scene, you saw Mr. Pullins. He was actually on top of my client, correct?
Correct.
And you determined that also that she was pregnant at the time?
So she stated that she was pregnant with his twins, and when I was Mr. Pullins showed me a ultrasound, and I showed multiple other officers. I showed EMS, and I showed also medical personnel at Southern Regional, and they were saying that they don't see no child, but yeah.
All right, but just to be clear, when you arrived, the alleged victim in this case is Mr. Pullins. He was actually on top of her, correct?
Correct.
And you actually, as far as visible injuries, you did see the bite mark on her face
Yes.
and it had blood on it.
Yes.
And Mr. Pullins admitted to doing this.
Yes.
And after you investigated further, you determined that my client, Ms. Chandler, was indeed free to leave, correct?
So when once EMS would check in Mr. Pullins, and at that time it was still, I thought it was a disturbance, meaning it was no family violence related. So when I asked, when he said he wanted her just to leave, and then she said she wanted to leave, then that's when I said, I'll tell her she was free to go. But then once we got towards the door, that's when she said she wanted to press charges on him. And then she was going to contact a supervisor. So she called 911, and that's when I went to my patrol car and got in contact with my sergeant to verify if it was family violence or not. And that's when by the time I looked up, she was running into the wood line.
Okay. I guess I'm just confused because it seems like you did your investigation and determined there was no reason to arrest my client for anything, and she was indeed free to leave. And she walked outside, and you all even offered her if she wanted to, or she said she wanted to press charges.
Correct.
And I'm not sure then how we get from that point to then suddenly she's being arrested and he isn't.
So the reason why she was arrested and he wasn't, because again, it wasn't, I didn't determine it was family violence at the time, but then when I did find out it was family violence, then at that point I had went based off the predominant aggressor. So then I asked both the victim and offender, do they want to write a statement? She refused to write one, and the victim wrote a written statement. And then I determined that it was self-defense on his part.
All right. Thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
Okay.
Any redirect,
No, Your Honor.
closing arguments?
The state will waive and reserve.
All right, go ahead, Attorney Lane.
Your Honor, we'd request the dismissal of the battery family violence warrant. Again, the officer came out, investigated, and made a determination that my client was free to leave. There was no probable cause to arrest her. I still unclear on how she eventually became the one who was arrested here, but she was the pregnant one when they arrived. He was on top of her. She's the one with the bite mark on her forehead that was bleeding, visibly bleeding. And like I said, at the end of the day, she was told that she was free to leave and there was no probable cause. So we'd request a dismissal.
All right, go ahead, Assistant Solicitor.
Your Honor, the state would submit that the officer, upon doing a thorough investigation, and consulting with a supervisor, determined, one, based on the evidence that he observed with the victim having the scratch marks and missing a dread from his head, that the defendant was the predominant aggressor in the situation, and she was already out of the house and came back to the house, and that the state would contend that we have met the burden to show probable cause for this particular charge.
Okay, one thing I'm confused about, how did a ultrasound become a part of the investigation?
That's a question for me, Judge.
Officer, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so the reason why that became a problem, because she was saying that she was pregnant with twins, and with his child. So then when I was speaking with him, he was saying that she could be lying, and she only saying that because they past history together. So that's why it became effective, Judge.
Okay. And did you say initially she was not under arrest?
No, and at first she wasn't under arrest. No.
And why not?
Because at that time I was determined that it wasn't family violence, and neither side wanted to press charges. But then once she went outside and then stated that she wanted to press charges and she wanted to speak to a supervisor, that's when I contacted my supervisor and determined that it was actually family violence.
Okay, so at some point you decided we're not going to arrest anybody, but then she came forward and said, "Hey, no, I do want to make a report and I want him arrested." And then you kind of opened it back up and made a decision about as to who was the aggressor. Is that what you're saying?
So yeah, so what I'm saying is, like, because since it was non-family violence, then nobody wanted to at the time did nobody want to pressure her, because she stated that she wanted to leave, and then he said that he want her to leave. But once we got outside, she said that she wanted to press charges, and that's when she called 911 to get my supervisor out there. Then once I had got her from the wood because she fell, she said she only called the sergeant just to get a ride home. So then, yeah, she ended up changing her story afterwards. But at that time, I didn't know, it wasn't determined who was going to get arrested, because at that time, family violence wasn't determined. But then once I established family violence, and that's when I had went forth of who was the predominant aggressor.
Okay, all right. So based upon the evidence presented, I do find that there is sufficient probable cause to bind charge over to State Court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court.
And Judge, if I could, I don't know if we could address bond here. It looks like she was denied bond when she was arrested. Uh,
She's on probation.
yeah, it looks like she
Mhm.
was on a felony probation, but I guess at this point, I don't know if we could have her a bond set.
I mean, I
Something.
guess that you could talk to the state about it and see
Okay.
if they want to agree to something, or you can file a bond hearing, a motion for a bond hearing.
All right.
They're waiting for me. The state wouldn't be consenting to any bond. The criminal history is quite lengthy and violent, so no.
All righty, we're done with Ms. Chandler. So next, we're going to do what about Long Henry? Are we ready on that one?
That's Officer
Or just
Hartman.
tell me what
Oh,
officer is here and ready to proceed.
yeah,
Or
we're
any
ready
officer
on
here.
Brooks. We're ready on Brooks here.
Works. All right.
Thank you, Officer Duncan. This is your only case. You're free to go.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Chandler, you're free to go. And if we could get Cameron Brooks, please.
He's coming, Your Honor.
All right. All right, Mr. Brooks, we are about to start your prelim. This is State of Georgia versus Cameron Brooks, charged in warrant number 2025 CW 7013, excuse me, 7 CW 70131 battery, simple battery family, just simple battery. My apologies. Simple batteries. All right, Assistant Solicitor, your witness.
Good morning, Officer Alexander. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you please state your name for the record?
Officer Shaquille Alexander,
And Officer Alexander, where are you currently employed?
Clayton County Police Department,
And how long have you been in the Clayton County Police Department?
7 years.
Are you post certified?
Yes, I am.
Were you post certified on January the 12th of 2025?
Yes.
Were you on duty on January 12th, 2025?
Yes.
Did you have an occasion to answer a call at 228 Morrow Road in Forest Park, Georgia?
Yes.
What county is that located in?
Clayton County.
And when you arrived on scene, do you recall why you were dispatched to that location?
Yes, I was dispatched to that location in reference to a domestic disturbance, excuse me.
And when you arrived on scene, did you make any initial observations?
Yes. I spoke with Mr. Ronnie West, who is the father to Mr. Cameron Brooks. He advised that he was attacked by his son um as he was watching TV. He was attacked by his son because he takes Mr. Ronnie West takes prescription pills or whatever the case may be, and Mr. Cameron wanted the pills and he kept asking for it. Mr. Ronnie West, denied him because he actually needs them. Once he denied him, I guess that enraged Mr. Brooks for him to attack him.
Okay. And did Mr. West advise how he was attacked by Mr. Brooks?
Yes, he advised when he was sitting on the couch, he came up to him and grabbed him like a bear hug, if you will. Um, as he grabbed him in the bear hug, he reached down into his pocket, um, trying to grab the pill bottle. Um, with that instance, it tore his pants. There was no visible marks. However, Miss Sandra Brooks, who is Mr. Cameron Brooks's mother, was there. She advised she came downstairs and seen Mr. Brooks on top of Mr. West, and she got pried them off and told Mr. Brooks, I'm sorry, to leave the house.
And were you able to speak with Mr. Brooks at that time?
Not physically. I was able to get him on the phone.
Uh,
Um,
how were you able to get him on the phone?
the mom, Miss Sandra Brooks called. That's how I was able to speak to him.
And what, if anything, did he advise you at that time?
He advised nothing physical occurred. Um, he just advised that he got in a verbal altercation with his dad and he left.
And did you make any determinations after speaking with the involved parties?
Yes, I determined that based on what Mr. West said and what Miss Brooks witnessed and provided in a written statement, um, that I had enough to obtain warrants for simple battery, and that's what I did.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
No additional questions.
All right, Attorney Lane.
Good morning, officer.
Morning.
So you spoke with my client and he denied that anything physical occurred, correct?
Correct.
Okay. What kind of pills were these?
I don't recall. I didn't ask.
Okay. But you're for sure that these pills belong to Mr. West
Yes.
and he had a legitimate prescription for them?
Correct.
Okay. Has anybody, other than I guess that phone call that you had with Mr. Brooks that evening, has anyone else interviewed him or got taken a statement from him since then?
I was the only one, since I was primary on the case, I was the only one that took his statement over the phone.
Okay. And did Mr. West tell you that I guess at some point during the incident that he was cursing at Mr. Brooks?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Did he go into detail of why he was
Yes.
cussing him out?
Yes, because like as I stated, as he was on the couch watching TV, um he kept asking him for the pills, give me the pills, give him the pills. Eventually that irritated him, and which caused him to, curse at him, possibly call him out of his name, things of that nature.
But we don't know what kind of pills that.
Yeah, correct. I do not know what kind of pills it was.
Did you ever see any pills?
No.
All right. Thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Closing arguments. Go ahead, Attorney Lane.
Well, Your Honor, we just submit with the officer's testimony.
All right, based upon the evidence presented, I do find that there is sufficient probable cause to bind this charge over to the State Court of Clayton County as the order of the court. All right, who can we do next?
Your Honor, the state is ready for Ronald Mayberry.
All right, if you can get Ronald Mayberry, deputy. And give me 1 minute while you get the defendant.
Officer Freeman, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, your case has been reset for a felony preliminary hearing. So you're free to go for today.
Oh, okay. Have they already rescheduled it or they gonna email me?
I believe it's reset to February 24th.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Is that also on Zoom or?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
All righty. Mr. Ronald Mayberry, we're about to start your prelim. This is the state of Georgia versus Ronald Mayberry, charged in warrant number 2025 WA01314. Assistant Solicitor, your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Holmes, can you come off mute and please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, ma'am.
Thank you so very much. Can you please state your name for the record?
William Jamal Holmes,
And Sergeant Holmes, where are you currently employed?
City of Jonesboro Police Department.
And how long have you been in law enforcement?
11 years.
Are you post certified?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you post certified on January 19th of 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you on duty January 19th of 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have an occasion to be called to 8140 Terra Boulevard in Jonesboro, Georgia?
Not exactly a call, but that location was brought to my attention.
And what county is that location located?
Clayton County.
And do you recall why that particular address was brought to your attention?
Because Mr. Mayberry was seen by QT Stafford of eating and wasting food without paying for it, and he appeared to be highly intoxicated.
And how did
And
you
yeah,
arrive there?
say again, ma'am.
How did you arrive? How did you become involved?
Oh, the staffer came outside. I was outside doing my property check. The staffer came outside and brought Mr. Mayberry to my attention, saying he was in there eating food and wasting it, and he was intoxicated, and he was asked to leave but wouldn't. So I mean, that's why I made contact with him.
Thank you. And at that time that you made contact, do you recall what, if anything, you observed?
I observed that Mr. Mayberry was in fact eating food and throwing it. He was eating hot dogs, halfway eating and throwing them away. He was unsteady in his feet and he was swaying, and his speech was heavily slurred.
And what, if anything, when you made contact, did Mr. Mayberry say to you?
Mr. Barrett said he was hungry and he didn't have money to pay for the food, or something to that effect.
And based on the information that you received and what you observed, did you do anything?
Yes, I advised Mr. Mayberry that the employees of QT wanted him to leave, and he did while protesting, but he did leave. He did exit the building. When we came outside, I issued him a criminal trespass warning on behalf of the QT staff, advising him not to come back on the property.
And did you take Mr. Mayberry in custody?
I took Mr. Mayberry in custody because after I told him that he was prohibited from entering QT or being on the property, he proceeded to walk through the front door to use the bathroom right in front of me, like I wasn't standing there. And upon which I went in behind him and placed him in custody.
And do you see the individual that you placed in custody on the Zoom screen today?
I do, ma'am.
Did you identify them by an article of clothing?
He has appears to be an orange or red top and dreads.
Thank you.
And he's like,
Just-
sorry.
Good morning, officer.
Morning, sir.
I so when how were you able, I guess in your opinion, Mr. Mayberry was intoxicated?
He was steady on his feet and swaying, and his speech was slurry, and he was walking while swaying, and he was very unsteady on his feet.
Okay. Were you able to determine, was he having any sort of mental health issues at the time?
No, sir. I thought I thought he just had too much to drink.
Okay. And his physical appearance, did he have any injuries to his head or any visible injuries that could have affected his state of
Not that I
mind?
remember. I don't recall any injuries on on his person.
Okay. And did you have your body cam on?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
Any redirect,
No, Your Honor.
closing arguments? Go ahead, Attorney Lane.
Your Honor, we just submit the officer's testimony.
All right, based upon the evidence, I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. The bond is charged over to the state court, Clayton County. That's the order of the court. All right, and if you can tell me who you have ready. Next, Assistant Solicitor.
Yes, Your Honor. If we could get James Phillips, or was that one of the, I can't remember if that was one of the ones that you had a question about, something different.
On mine,
Uh,
it said that both were ready.
Okay.
Yeah, and Your Honor, I don't know if we could meet briefly or as far as maybe getting a bond in exchange for a waiver.
James Phillips.
Yeah, he was denied. I guess he came in with on probation, so it was denied at preliminary hearing, but I mean at first appearance, but it has been a month now, and we'd make another request for bond at this point.
All right, well, at the end of the calendar, why don't you guys have a conversation about that?
Okay.
Well, actually, go ahead and do that now, because that officer is ready. I believe.
Okay.
Officer Duncan, there he is, yeah. So let me. Excuse me. All right, I'm going to put you guys in breakout one, and I'll just be on hold till you have a brief conversation.
Thank you, Judge. Okay, Judge, we had an announcement on Phillips.
Okay,
We've agreed to waive the preliminary hearing in exchange for a $7,000 bond.
okay. So this is on Philip, so this is gonna be a consent bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right.
And I'll draft that up and submit it to the court.
Okay, great. All right, Officer Duncan, if you don't have any more, you're free to go. What about Darylyn Rudolph? Are we ready, or who are we ready for?
Yes, Officer Turner's here.
Okay. Deputy, if you would get,
I'm here. I'm listening, Your Honor. I was about to ask you, because you put us in breakout room with Mr. Lane real fast. It probably be like 5 seconds. They ain't gonna need to take long.
breakout room with who?
Mr.
Attorney
Lane.
Lane?
Yeah.
Okay. Attorney Lane, you're already in there.
Okay.
Jill, I'm putting you in there.
All right, Judge, I'm back.
Deputy, if you could get Rudolph, please. Darylyn Rudolph, we're ready to start his hearing.
Sure.
Your Honor, we up.
All righty. Are you Mr. Darren Rudolph? Yes? All right, we're about to start your preliminary hearing. State of Georgia versus Darren Rudolph. Case number 2024 WA 08176, criminal trespass. Assistant Solicitor, your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Turner, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please state your name for the record?
Name is L. Turner, Leon Turner, Officer Marta Police.
And how long have you been with the Marta Police Department?
A little under a year.
Are you post-certified?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you post-certified on December 27th of 2024?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you on duty December 27th of 2024?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have an occasion to come into contact with Miss Darylyn Rudolph?
Yes, ma'am.
And how did that occur?
We were summoned by a station agent that there were sleepers on the train at the airport. We got to the airport. She was there. She was a little belligerent with the station agent or with the people. So we asked her to leave. She at first we was gonna let her ride the train and leave, but then she was being smart, belligerent. I think she was either still stuck in her sleep or I don't know, but she had an attitude. We nicely asked her to leave the station. Uh, she started to leave the station, but then she started insisting that we should take her to jail. Um, and we was like, hey, we just want you to leave the station. It was cold that day, so I don't know what her intentions was, but she kept insisting that we took her to jail. So, uh, that's the gist of it.
And did you make an arrest at that time?
Yes, ma'am. Almost when she almost out the station, she turned around and started being boisterous and said, you know, take me to jail. Do what y'all do. Take me to jail. So we end up handcuffing her and charging her with criminal trespass and take her to Clayton County Jail.
And do you see the person that you took into custody on that day on the Zoom screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you identify them by an article of clothing or a physical feature?
Has a twist in her hair and something look like a green jumpsuit.
And did this incident occur in Clayton County?
Yes, ma'am.
No additional questions, Your Honor.
Good morning, officer.
Good morning.
Was the airport, you said it was cold. I guess, yeah, this was December 27th. Was the airport providing shelter for folks that needed it due to the cold weather?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Is there I guess, is it called Hope that's there where people can go to, I guess, seek guidance to find shelter?
We have two facilities in Atlanta. Well, Hope, and then they have a facility named Gateway. But unfortunately, a lot of folks sleep on the trains. But the airport is like a last stop. So the train comes there and it'll stop for like 10 or 15 minutes. So we're having to clear the trains. At the moment, my thought was, you know, maybe, she just needed a warm place to go to. That's why she was insisting on going to jail. I mean, that's what I got from it, because there was no reason to, to obstruct or to, not leave the property.
Okay. Was Hope open at the time?
I do not know, sir.
Okay. But Hope isn't a place you can stay. You just go there and they'll direct you to shelter.
My understanding is Hope and Gateway, they have there's forms you fill out, let them know your situation, and based on that, they decide what they can do for you. I'm not sure how it's structured, but yeah.
Was she allowed to do that night?
Well, we encouraged her to try to go somewhere, but the most easiest place was the MARTA train. So um, uh, I we tried. We tried to escort her. We tried to encourage her just to go get help, but she insisted on going to jail. She said, "Take me to jail. Take me to jail."
When you were speaking with her, you said she maybe seemed a little, maybe she was still lost in her sleep. Was she lucid? Did you suspect any mental health issues?
At the time, um, uh, it's it, I have 12 years experience in mental health, but at the time, you don't really know what's going on in someone's mind. She probably seemed a little overwhelmed probably at the time and probably was looking for an easy escape. Like I said, jail seemed to have been the most convenient place to go for her at the time, from what I'm observing, because she definitely did whatever she could to get us to just go ahead and take her to jail.
Okay. So when you guys get a call that their sleepers aren't on MARTA, do they then they have to get off the MARTA train and and leave the airport? They're not allowed to go up to the Hope facility?
No, the way it works is we do a welfare check. If you're sleeping, and say, "Hey, are you okay? Do you have a breeze card?" At the time, she did not have a breeze card, so that's our way of knowing whether or not you're supposed to be riding the train. She did not have a breeze card. We encouraged her to go downstairs and get a breeze card, I don't know if at the time she had money or not, but she wasn't able to get a Breeze card. So that's when, things go left. When you don't have a Breeze card, it seems that you don't have the intention to pay.
All right. Well, thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
You're on mute, but no, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, closing arguments, Attorney Lane.
Your Honor, we just submit with the officer's testimony.
All right, based on evidence presented, I do find that there's sufficient probable cause to bind this charge over to the State Court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court. All right, who are we ready for now?
Williams, Kevon Williams. Thank you, Officer Attorney.
Okay, permission
All right,
to.
Deputy, we're done with Ms. Rudolph. You said you're ready on Kevon Williams.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Deputy, if we can get Kevon Williams, please.
Who did you say?
Kevon Williams.
I don't have a Kevon Williams on my list.
You don't, did he bond out? So you don't, I have a
You said
Kevon.
Kevon Williams? Yeah, I don't have a Kevon Williams at all. I don't think he is.
Leviticus. Marie, can you find out if he bonded out?
Okay.
So we'll just hold on that one. Who do we have next?
Was I on mute? Your Honor, I don't know if you heard me.
I'm sorry?
Was I on mute? I don't know if you heard me. Oh, no, you got him. Weidman.
Oh, I didn't hear you. What did you say?
Oh, Weidman. I apologize.
All right, Deputy, if we can get Carlos Weidman.
Are you just looking up, a previous bond? Yeah, he is on the calendar.
Okay, say that again. Marie, what did you say?
It's just showing in the system for Mr. Williams that,
Oh, no,
he
you
didn't
sound
bond
really
out
muffled. We can't understand. You sound really muffled.
on Mr. Kevon Williams.
Huh?
He has not bonded out. He's on this calendar.
Okay, Deputy, if we can please get Kevon Williams. He was supposed to be in court.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can you repeat that, young?
We need to get Kevon Williams. He was supposed to be in court. He should have been on that list.
Okay. Yeah, he's not on my list. So you gotta give me 1 second because I'm gonna have to check and see where he is. Where he's located.
All right, thank you. But can we go ahead and do our hearing on, or do you need Whitman or Weidman?
Yeah, he right here behind me.
Okay. All right, we're about to have your preliminary hearing. This is the state of Georgia versus Carlos Weidman, charged in warrant number 2025 WA 01285. That's criminal trespass, 2025 WA 01286 obstruction, and 2025 WA 01287 theft by shoplifting. Assistant Solicitor, your witness.
Thank you. Officer Jones, could you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, ma'am.
Thank you. Would you please state your name for the record?
Officer Tevin Jones,
And Officer Jones, where are you currently employed?
Riverdale Police Department.
And how long have you been with Riverdale Police Department?
Been in Riverdale almost a year.
Are you post-certified?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you post-certified on January the 17th of 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you on duty on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have an occasion to be dispatched to 7050 State Road 85 in Riverdale, Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
What county is that located?
Clayton County.
And could you tell me the specific location you were dispatched to?
It was 7050 Highway 85, Riverdale, Walmart.
Walmart. Thank you. And did you arrive on scene?
Yes, ma'am.
And what, if anything, did you learn upon your arrival?
Upon my arrival, the asset protection agent advised me that there was a male sitting in the pharmacy area, eating snacks that he took from the stand in Walmart. I approached that male. I was familiar with him as well. I've dealt with him before. Asked him what he was doing. He said he was waiting for the pharmacy. Mind you, it was about 9:20 p.m., I believe. The pharmacy's closed at that point. I told him to come with me to the asset protection office. On the way there, I asked him his name. He advised at that time his name was Mega multiple times. He never told me his real name. Later found out that his name was Carlos Weidman. And then he's placed in custody at that time.
And at any point, had you asked Mr. Weidman to leave the property, or had he been asked prior to that to leave the property?
Yes, we had been formally criminally trespassed from that location per Walmart, and he had 2 violations prior to that incident as well.
And did you observe him eating or partaking of any goods that belonged to Walmart?
Yes, ma'am. He was eating a Reese's cup and a soda, drinking a soda.
Did he advise at any time that he intended to pay for those items?
No, ma'am.
And did you take the defendant into custody?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you see the individual that you took into custody on the Zoom screen today?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you identify them by an article of clothing or a physical feature?
He's wearing a red top, black male with a gray beard.
Thank you. No additional questions.
All right, Cross.
Hey, good morning, officer.
Morning, sir.
So you said he'd been trespassed 2 times previously from this Walmart.
Yes, sir.
Was it recently or like within the last month or 2 or?
I do not recall. I just remember he was criminally trespassed, and then he violated that criminal trespass warning twice.
Okay. Did you generate a report for this?
I criminally trespassed him. I did the report for my incident. 2 prior, I was not the officer on duty.
Oh, okay. And did you actually observe him eating and drinking inside the Walmart?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you have your body cam on?
Yes, sir.
All right. And as far as when you were interacting with Mr. Weidman, did it seem like he was mentally, did it seem like he was lucid and understood your questions and commands?
Yes, sir. For the most part, like I said, I've ran him before, and he's doesn't seem all the way mentally capable, but he did understand what I was asking when I asked him for his name, and he gave me the fake name.
Okay. And his physical appearance, did he have any noticeable injuries to his head or anywhere that might affect his mental state?
Not that I recall.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
Yes, sir.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right, closing arguments, Attorney Lane.
Your Honor, we submit with the officer's testimony.
All right, based upon the evidence presented, I do find there's sufficient probable cause to bind this case over to the State Court of Clayton County as the order of the court. Thank you. Anybody we have next?
I think I know that we had Mr. Williams, and I needed one moment to get Officer Hartman on. He was in a training, so I advised that we would let him know when he was next, but that didn't give her fine.
Our deputy, we're done with Mr. Whiteman.
Hey, Your Honor, what was that person's name again you was looking for?
It was Kevon, I remember Kevon Williams.
And Your Honor, Officer Hartman is on, so we're ready for Terry Long Henry. Whenever deputy comes.
All right, and this is who we ready for?
Long Henry.
Let's see.
No.
Okay. All right, if we can get Long Henry deputy.
What you need, young? We waiting on young.
We are waiting on Mr. Long Henry. Marie, can you find the paperwork on Daryl and Rudolph, please?
Okay.
All righty. We're about to start your preliminary hearing, ma'am. State of Georgia versus Terry Long Henry, charged in warrant number 2025 WA 01296 from the trespass, 2025 WA 01297 obstruction. Assistant Solicitor, your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Hartman, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you so much. Can you please say your name for the record?
Lee Hartman,
And Officer Hartman, where are you currently employed?
with the City of Atlanta Police Department, assigned to the Airport Division.
And are you post certified?
Yes,
Were you post certified on January 18th of 2025?
yes,
Were you on duty on that day?
yes.
Did you have an opportunity to come into contact with Terry Long Henry?
Yes.
Can you advise on how that contact was initiated?
On that night, I was flagged down by an officer who was working a part-time job for Delta Airlines. He had told me that there was a female sitting by one of the carousels that was possibly residentially challenged. With the airport having a 24-hour closed to non-travelers policy, I approached her to see if she was flying out. At one point, she said she was flying out, but she wasn't able to provide a boarding pass or anything to show me that she was flying out. So I tried to explain to her that the airport was closed, that we'd have to walk over to the MARTA station. And she finally just said, "Well, I'm not leaving. You're going to have to arrest me." So when I went over to arrest her, my keys had fallen off my radio. She grabbed them and threw them across the floor. And as I was going to get my keys, she jumped up and took off trying to go outside the airport terminal. And then that's when I was able to catch up to her, and she was still trying to get away from me. That's when I had to grab her arm to stop her. And then that's when I put her in custody.
And do you see the person that you took into custody on the day in question on the Zoom call?
I only see you and me. I don't see no one else. I don't know if
You may have to swipe or change your view.
let me see. Yeah, I'm not seeing any other pictures.
Do you recall what the person that you took into custody looked like on that day?
It was a white female. That's about all I can describe.
All right, and how were you able to identify that person?
On the day I had contact with her,
Yes.
or
Yes.
she was the only one in the area where the officer pointed to where she was sitting.
And how were you able to determine her identity?
She had a state of Georgia ID card in her wallet.
And did this incident occur in Clayton County?
Yes.
Thank you. No additional questions.
Ross?
Officer, when you first encountered Miss Long Henry, did you say that you actually gave her an opportunity to leave the airport?
Yes.
Okay, and how was that? Did you give her a MARTA train pass, or how was she going to leave?
We were going to provide a MARTA train pass. I told her that she'd have to leave the property. We could walk over to MARTA, and that we'd make sure she got on the train. And she said she wasn't leaving, that I'd have to arrest her. I told her several times that I didn't want to arrest her, that I wanted to take her to MARTA to get her on the train.
Okay. And did it seem like she was able to understand your questions and commands?
Somewhat. I could tell that she wasn't completely there mentally, but I don't think her mental capacity that day would have affected her to understand that I told her she had to leave and I was going to get her a card to get on the train.
Okay. And her physical appearance, did she have any noticeable injuries to her head or body that would have affected her mental state?
Not that I had noticed.
Oh, okay. And did you have your body cam on during the incident?
I did.
Okay. All right. Thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
You need
You're welcome.
redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Closing arguments, Attorney Lane?
Your Honor, we submit the officer's testimony.
All right, based upon the evidence presented, I do find that there is sufficient probable cause to sign these charges over to the state court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court.
Thank you, Officer Hartman. You're free to go.
All right. Good day, Your Honor.
Good day. Have a good one. Thank you. All right, Ms. Long, we're done with Ms. Long Henry. And so we have any more officers ready?
Officer Rice, are you here? Is anybody in the waiting room, Your Honor? They said that he's on.
No, don't see anybody in the waiting room.
And Officer Benson, I apologize, but there was a waiver for Miller. I do apologize for that oversight. You're free to go. Thank you. And Your Honor, were we able to locate Williams?
So deputy, how long would it be before we can get Williams?
I think they went to go get him.
Say that again?
They went to go get him.
Okay, he hasn't back. Oh, he's not back yet. All right, are you ready with anybody else?
I'm just trying to see what's going on with Rice.
Attorney Janvier, on the phone, he says, it shows that he's waiting for the host.
Okay.
I don't. Hold on. I don't see him. Maybe he can go out and try to come back in. I don't see him trying to come in.
Yes, ma'am. I just advised him to log out and try to come back in. So he's going to try that real
Thank
quick.
you.
Okay, so I'm in a Zoom workplace, join meeting. I'm clicking on join meeting. Meeting ID number, I got that. That's in, that's in.
I slipped into it. Sitting in the dark. He cuts up automatically. Not every.
We waiting on y'all.
Assistant Solicitor, I know we were waiting on Williams, but he hasn't come. Who else are we ready to go forward with?
Rothbuyer, if we can, if
Say that again?
I think it's Rothbuyer. We're waiting on Rice, Officer Rice, to get logged in.
Is that the last one?
Yeah, those are the last two we have.
I still haven't gotten it. I should have gotten it by now.
Yeah, try refreshing. You should have a new email with a new link.
Yeah, I've done it like 5 times. You got the email right?
I don't see that officer.
I think seems like he's having some difficulties getting in.
Okay.
Judge, I don't know about sellers. I don't know if I missed the.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Something
through
on
the calendar now and see who I have marked. Alrighty, so Brooks, we're done with. Chandler will be it. Duncan is a judicial bind over. Hughes is a PC found. Lawrence is a dismissal. Long Terry was PC found. I mean, Long Henry was PC found. Mayberry was PC found. Miller, there was a waiver previously done. Noel, that's going to be moved to the felony calendar. I need to look at that again. Phillips, that was a consent bond. Ray is a judicial bind over. Rudolph is a PC found. Sellers, I have officer out on training, but you said that you were getting him in.
No, that was Officer Rice. We had asked for a reset, Your Honor, but you did not say if we could have it or not.
Okay, all right, and then Torreyman, is that that was a waiver I previously done? Is that right, Attorney Lane?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then okay, that's the same one. Whitaker, that was a consent, but I mean a UJR. Carlos Whiteman, PC found. Whiteman, PC found. Whiteman, PC found. Kavon Williams, we're holding on Mr. Williams, and then Rothmeyer, we're holding for him as well. So we have 2 left. As far as sellers, is this the first time sellers was on the calendar?
I believe so, Judge.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
Officer Rice should be in just 2 seconds.
Thanks.
Judge, we can place him on a continuance for February the 20th, if you want.
Say that again?
With Sellers, if you were thinking of continuing him, he can go on the
You
February
sound so muffled. Say that one more time.
February the 25th.
Uh-huh.
The continuance for Mr. Sellers.
It was continued from February 20.
I said we can.
You're saying continuous date.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
before I make a decision, I wanted to know, was this the first time it was on the calendar?
Okay.
Attorney Lane, you're looking that up for me?
Oh, sorry, Your Honor. Yeah, let me just double check here.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor. According to our notes, this is the first setting.
Okay, we'll move him to 125. Okay, I see Rice now.
Officer Rice is on now, ASG, Janvier.
Thank you. So, Your Honor, the state is ready for Rothmeyer.
Okay, go ahead and request on the deputy to bring in.
All right, Deputy, can we get Rothmeyer, Randall Rothmeyer?
I got
All right, is this are you Mr. Rothbeier? Okay, hold on one moment. All righty. All right, this is the preliminary hearing, State of Georgia versus Randall Rothbeier, 2025 WA 01216, criminal trespass. Assistant Solicitor, your witness.
Thank you. Officer Rice, could you please come off mute and raise your right hand?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you. Yep. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Can you please state your name for the record?
Officer Rice,
And Officer Rice, where are you currently employed?
Lovejoy Police Department.
And are you post certified?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you post certified on January 13th of 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you on duty on that day as well?
I was.
And did you, were you dispatched to 145 Breezewood Drive?
I was, along with my lieutenant.
And what county is that located in?
It's gonna be Clayton County.
Do you recall the reason that you were dispatched to that location?
Yes, ma'am, I was. I was dispatched due to a disturbance in the Breezewood area, which is La Costa Homes, and myself and my lieutenant approached the house and knocked on the door, and the owner McNeely let us in the house, and both men, Rothbauer and McNeely, were both in the master bedroom, a little bit arguing, and Mr. Rothbauer said that busted the man's TV with my phone, which he admitted to breaking the man's TV. So right then and there, that's when I took him into custody and arrested him for that, and then after I put him in my patrol vehicle, I went and talked to the homeowner, Mr. McNeely, and he advised that Rothbauer had been drinking that night and that day into going into that night, and he got mad at his phone for not cooperating with him. So Mr. McNeely said that he busted his own phone and then threw it at Mr. McNeely's 54-inch TV, and which busted it.
Thank you. And how did you determine that the person that you took into custody was Mr. Rothbauer?
He stated his name as well as gave me his ID, and I ran it through GCIC with along with dispatch for Clayton County, and they confirmed it was him.
All right, thank you. No additional
Yes,
questions.
ma'am.
All right, Cross.
Hey, good morning, officer.
Good morning.
Uh, when you were interviewing my client, Mr. Rothbauer, did he tell you why he threw his phone at the TV?
Mr. Rothbauer stated that McNeely had a cane that he used to walk with when he was able to walk, and that Mr. Rothbauer's phone, after it wouldn't work, he advised that he threw it on the floor, and he told McNeely to bang on it with his cane to get it to working again, which apparently it didn't. But and I went and asked McNeely that, and McNeely said no, he never touched the phone. But Rothbauer said that McNeely did take his cane and smash the phone with it.
Okay. Um, so was the phone, were you able to look at the phone? Was it damaged?
Yes, sir. The whole entire screen was crushed. It was smashed.
On the phone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
Yes,
Can
sir.
you redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right, closing arguments, Attorney Lane.
Your Honor, we just submit with the officer's testimony.
All right, based upon the evidence presented, I do find that there is sufficient probable cause to bind this charge over to the state court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court. And then we're just waiting for Mr. Williams.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you, Officer Rice.
Thank you, y'all. Y'all have a good day.
You too.
Yeah.
Am I free to go or?
Sorry, yes, you're free to go. Thank you.
All right. Thank y'all.
Yana, can you put us back in the breakout room, Mr. Lane, real fast?
Say that again.
Go back in the breakout room with Attorney Lane real fast.
I can't hear. Wait. Say it one more time.
I said, can you put us back in the breakout room with Attorney Lane real fast?
Okay. All right. You both can just join.
All right. Thank you, Judge. I'm back.
All right, we're just waiting on Mr. Williams.
Yeah, I know we just waiting on Kevin Williams, right?
Yes, we're just waiting on Mr. Kevon Williams so we can have his hearing.
Okay. Yeah, I know we got him up.
All righty, just give me 2 minutes and we'll start the hearing. All right. We are ready? All righty. We're about to have your hearing. This is the State of Georgia versus Kevon Williams, warrant number 2025 WA01229. Assistant Solicitor, your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Deputy Eric, could you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you please state your name for the record?
Michael Era,
And where are you currently employed?
Dane County Sheriff Office.
And are you post-certified?
Yes, I am.
Were you post-certified on January 13th of 2025?
Yes, I was.
And were you on duty on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
And while you were on, did you have the occasion to come into contact with Mr. Kevon Williams?
Yes, I did.
Can you please advise of how that contact was initiated?
Okay, I was in charge of escorting a contractor that was doing the work in the housing unit. When I arrived at the housing unit, Williams was out in the catwalk. I instructed him to go on the other side of the catwalk, on the other side of the tower, so he would not be in the presence of the contractor. I had to go inside the tower to make a phone call. Once I entered the tower, I left the contractor in front of the door. While I was not paying attention to the contractor, inmate Williams went back around to the contractor and confronted him trying to take a drink off his cart. The contractor did not want to give it to him, so I was advised by the officer in the tower that she observed inmate Williams, Mr. Williams, do two spitting gestures towards the contractor that I was with. So I left the control tower and I made contact with the contractor and asked him what was going on. At the time, he didn't know that anything had occurred. So I put him in the empty section of the the housing unit, and I approached Williams and I asked him what was going on, and he told me nothing. I asked him, did he spit on the contractor? He said no. The contractor then called me over to the section and showed me, after he took off his hoodie, he showed me the saliva that was on the back of his hoodie and said that something had also hit the back of his ear. I called Captain Redden and advised her the situation, and Captain Redden, along with Sergeant, I can't pronounce her name clearly that good, but another supervisor came over to the housing unit, and they also interviewed Williams and the contractor, and found out that he actually did spit on the contractor because the contractor would not give him a drink.
Thank you. And did this event occur in Clayton County?
Yes, it did.
Thank you. No additional questions.
All right. Attorney Lane?
Good morning, officer.
Morning, sir.
Were there any other inmates around the contractor?
I did not observe any other inmates around the contractor.
Okay, so Mr. Williams was the only inmate on the catwalk?
He wasn't the only one on the catwalk. When we came in, I told him there was another inmate with him, and I advised both of them to go to the other side of the control tower on the and they both complied at that time. But once again, when I went into the tower, Mr. Williams was the one that went back around to the contractor.
Okay. And you never observed anything happen, correct?
No, I was on the phone. I had to make two phone calls. I had to make a call and I was receiving a call.
Did you ever review any video of the alleged incident?
No, I saw the saliva on the back of the gentleman's hoodie, and then Williams did admit to it afterwards.
Okay. He admitted to you?
And to the the captain and the Sergeant O'Draco.
Oh, did you have your body cam on during this?
I believe I did turn it on at that moment once I went out.
Okay. Was Mr. Williams, like when you were speaking with him, did he mentally, did he seem like he was alert and able to understand your questions?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And his physical condition, did he have any noticeable injuries to his head or body that would have affected his ability to his mental state?
No, sir.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
Redirect.
No, Your Honor.
Cross Attorney Lane.
No, Your Honor. We just submit with the officer's testimony.
All right, based on evidence presented, I do find that there's sufficient probable cause to bind this charge over to the State Court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court. And Mr. Williams, that's disgusting. You're disgusting, Mr. Williams. That's horrible. Anyway, that should conclude. Let me go through here one more time. Make sure we.
Deputy Aaron, you're free to go. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you. All right, that's it. Have a great day. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day. Thank you.